Rivals Fight Night returns as we turn to the EU finals. Luminosity taking on OG Esports, who just dismantled the competition from EX Oblivione.
Yeah, I mean, you looked at what happened here, and look, OG Esports, they prove why they're so good and consistent in EU, where they got surprised 2 weeks ago by EX Oblivione, but this time around they came in, they learned some lessons, and they brought out the Pocket Jeff to end it in style. It's like what you like to see from one of the top teams in the EU.
And we have great news for all the fans at home of VAST. Tonight, the EU final may go beyond 3 games. It might not be a one-sided affair, as Virtus.pro is officially out of the country. Some of the players are traveling, other people just taking the weekend off. So Luminosity is stepping in as their interim champion. They're taking on OG Esports. What should I know about this squad, and what's on the table for them tonight?
I mean, if you're a fan of Virtus.pro, you should first be saying like, oh man, I don't get to watch my 30-minute final again. But also for LG, I do think that like this team is really interesting. They have like a lot of great players. They have players that have pretty storied history in competitive FPSs in general. I mean, in particular, like Trust Me, Naga, two players that have really stood out on this team overall in terms of the impact they have on duelists and then also on strategists, or rather Vanguard in particular. But the whole roster looks really, really good. They love playing a lot of comps where they can even put like level 1 Crook on like the Mantis, for example, to get a lot more like frag potential, a lot more limb potential. So I do think you look at this team and you see like a very, very strong lineup overall that really revolves around like empowering Naga and empowering Trust Me. And if you're a fan in general of very good Marvel Rivals play, this team has looked really, really good, consistently fighting, trying to fight for that second tier spot along with OG right behind Virtus.pro. And it is a boon here of Virtus.pro being gone, being on the private jet, returning to the Virtus.pro headquarters located somewhere in the mountains of Shangri-La. Is that it's probably not Shangri-La, it's probably like, where are they at? Serbia? I don't know.
Yeah, Serbia is actually the answer there, I believe.
Oh, it's Serbia. There you go. So it is Serbia. So it is a boon that we're going to actually see a final that probably, or at least should be a lot closer. And you're going to see a lot of really, really, I think, fun things coming out of these teams.
ZP, what's your favorite part of Luminosity? Who do you like to watch?
I mean, look, it might just be the old OW nostalgia speaking, but it's got to be Naga. I think Naga, when Naga's hitting on the Namor, is an absolute beast. I mean, not only consistency in the neutral game, but also just incredible all-time with the Horn of Proteus again and again, to the point that I feel like if you're OG Esports, where you looked at the versatility they showed in the first series, I think you actually go out of your way to get rid of Luna or Namor in most of these maps here. Just take away what I think may be Naga's best hero.
Now, we always start with domination. We pre-select that first map. Afterwards, the loser is going to choose where we go and what we're playing. That'll happen until one team has 3 wins, and we'll give them $1,000, thanks to our casters. So, Avast, we're jumping into domination. OG has shown you they got Mag, they got Thing, they can bring out a Bucky, Star-Lord, Wolverine, potentially. What are the expectations, though, from Luminosity when it comes to domination?
I mean, honestly, you're probably going to see everything about the same except maybe Wolverine. They also really love playing a lot of Destroyed on Hela, and I think that's something we didn't see in our previous series if you were watching between OG and EX Oblivione, is that Hela was pretty much gone the entire time. So might see a lot more Hela play here. They love putting Destroyed on the Hela. What's up, Puckett? You want to say something? I see you motioning.
No, I just thought Hela could actually pop off unless there's a Groot in this game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they do play Groot. They do also play Groot as well.
Yeah, but
EX Oblivione making sure we didn't see a Groot at all earlier tonight. Sorry. So keep going at ZP. Theory craft me.
No, I think what that means here is that it could be a Groot versus Groot thing, because I don't think either of these two teams really shies away from playing the Groot. I think that, you think back to the last series where EX Oblivione was like, no Groot, not at all. If teams feel relatively even, they won't use a ban on it. They're more willing to play it. It might create some havoc if you did want to play a Hela, but you can still play a Hela when a Groot is on the field. It's not a deal breaker. So I think just in the frontline matchup alone here, based on how the teams play Vanguards, we will see a pretty different shift in tempo in the series, unless on the other hand we see OG go, actually no, we're gonna ban the Groot and we'll take it away, but I don't know if that'll be the case.
Is the prize $1,000 each or 1,000 split? Scolius, do you think I'm rich, bro? It's 1,000 for the team, homie. It's coming out of our pockets.
We're all donating the plasma. We're donating the plasma for this on the prize pool, of course.
Let's be honest here, family. We're just creating the competition for you guys to enjoy it. We got games loading up here in just a moment. We're gonna have our bans and protects, and then we'll be getting into this. ZP, though, can you give us an update from your ranked games? What has been the best and worst lineup you've played with?
I mean, honestly, the worst lineup would basically be any time where everyone goes that strategists and vanguards are not required. Simply go full duelist, and eventually what happens in those setups is that any all duelist lineup will always have a Black Widow on your team, because it's like someone's, protest pick of going like, we're going all duelist. Well, I'm gonna be going Black Widow. Let's see how it goes. And the Black Widow plus 5 other duelist compositions have maybe about a 0% win rate for me, unfortunately. Maybe someone will find a way to play it effectively, but it has not been in my pub games, that's for sure.
Have you won a game though with 4 duelists and 2 strategists? Because I pulled it off in Diamond last night.
I have not, but I think it's possible. You just need the other team to be more tilted than your team. It is possible.
Hawkeye was the key. If you get a pick on one of their strategists, you had a chance. All right, back to the pro strat. You're not going to see any nerdiness or insaneness, I assume, in this matchup, unless Tanuki gets freaky. We've already seen a sneaky Jeff eating people from behind, throwing them off the map. Avast, is there any other character that is maybe off meta that you would like to see somebody take a chance on?
It's tough. I mean, I think overall we've seen some teams do some really interesting things with Black Widow, actually, where you have Black Widow use like Doctor Strange portal to peek behind them in the first fight, or maybe even just like entrust such a Black Widow with, especially if you have someone like level 1 Crook who likes to play Mantis, give some allied inspiration, give some of the damage boost there, try to get some early picks. It's possible. Could also do kind of a similar thing with Hawkeye. So those are 2 picks where you can see some pocket strategies come out on the maps. However, since our first map looks like it's going to be Hell's Heaven, it's unlikely. If anything, if you're going to play somebody that's like more off meta, it'd be like Squirrel Girl, right? You see a horde of squirrels running towards you more than likely. Is LG immediately removing the Wolverine from Tanuki? They said, we're not even going to bother with this.
Yeah.
And no Hella. We're not going to see Hella.
All right,
today.
Hella
we're not going to see Hella.
Gone. Sorry for you. Unfortunately, ZP, your main has been removed, but the Bucky's protected. So we're going to see Etsu playing the Winter Soldier on one side. On the other, Naga is definitely going to be playing Namor, unless Luna Snow gets banned, right?
I mean,
even if Luna Snow gets banned, right?
Yeah, even if Luna gets banned, I think Naga is good enough on Namor that it still might be a thing depending on the setup. OG, though, they're at least going to take part of that away, which is kind of the problem when you really want to run a Namor comp, is that the reality is that you cannot protect both Namor and Luna, so you will be getting a nerfed comp. And for OG, they said, we don't want AF's destroyed Hella. We don't want to deal with it. We don't really want to play Hell that much ourselves, so we'll take the lesser of the 2 evils, which is a nerfed Naga, if you decide to run the Namor in the first place.
Here we go. Hell's Heaven first domination will be map number 1. We've got a Bucky protected with no Lokis, so not as many Agains as usual here, but we could see him being the difference maker, or will it be the Star-Lords in the sky? We got ZP and Avast on the mic. Take it away, Z.
All right, Avast, we'll see what is in store here, but of course, big difference as we were calling up from the beginning here is that there will be a difference, I believe, on the Vanguard end, where Groot wasn't banned, and we'll see just how that impacts things here. And also, the question mark of, you've protected Namor, but do you still run it after the Luna ban? I suppose we will see here. But we got Groots on both sides, both teams feeling the forest, Vast.
Yeah, I mean, with Groot being on the field here, I mean, it's just kind of a must-play tank, especially on a lot of these domination maps where the chokes are so strong. You get so much value from the Thornlash walls and just the walls in general. You see Fate doing a little speed bubble tech, classic little Jeff behavior. We're not going to be seeing any more deep duelist Jeff coming out. And more than likely, we talked about like, oh, do we still play Namor? I think it makes more sense that, we're going to see a lot more Star-Lord, if anything, right? Because Star-Lord's still going to be good, still going to be played a lot here for the mobility, for the options to get around behind shields or set up flanks, have the Galactic Legend.
I love, by the way,
Naga on top.
I love how every Hella player, the backup option is to go Warlock, just because their primary fire functions so similarly. And Naga, though, just rips Enzo apart from the top. LG, great positioning at the beginning, and even with the BRB getting the group back into the play, it's a really nice start. And they got the team up power here too, Avast, where, okay, you might lose Naga. Guess what? He's coming right back.
And I talked about a bit how LG, they really like to empower level 1 Crook to play Mantis. Sestroid moving over here to like this triple strategist to have this team up for the Adam Warlock means that they have a lot of damage, right? Adam Warlock does an incredible amount of damage just himself with the left or the right clicks, and they're going to have that team up like we just saw where Naga gets picked, gets come back up from the cocoon. So it really just means an incredible amount of pressure is going to be put onto the OG Esports frontline here with all this damage, and it's going to be tough to follow up on the picks.
Naga building a really quick Galactic Legend, may just drop it here immediately. Enzo, though, down. And here comes Naga. Gonna force out the boundary immediately with the Galactic Legend. So that's an old trade that generally you're pretty happy to take. Most Galactic Legend gonna be gone, and now here comes the Strangling Prison right on after. Blaster Barrage into the thick of things, and LG is looking great right now, Avast.
Yeah, just, I mean, this comp it just provides so much damage. There's so many options here, especially when these chokes are so close. So Strangling Prison is just going to be a constant threat there, especially when pretty much you've already used your Visible Boundary, which with Kin was on the Rocket Raccoon, which is now swapped. I think it was the right pick, but the Rocket Raccoon means that you don't really have any defensive utility, right? As soon as your Visible Boundary is gone, you're like, okay, I don't really have anything left. Keep everyone up. As now, Kin going to the Mantis, they're just going to be mirroring this composition, actually. Just putting Etsu here onto the Adam Warlock as well, who gets a immediate pick on a Destroid.
Yeah, Etsu immediately going, like, I can do the Warlock stuff too. Destroid, though, going to bring himself right back up with his own cocoon. But here comes Enzo. Strangling Prison. Brings a whole lot in. Is the fall through going to be there, though? Meteor M, a little bit mistimed. Waiting. Still good enough to take down the Mantis. But Crook should be able to get right back up after it. Does do that in turn. And LG still very much in this fight. Strangling Prison going to go down. Trust me, looking for the fall through. But overall, OG able to stay in this fight is very back and forth, Avast.
I mean, still very losable here. You see the Meteor from Rojaro trying to keep him up, gonna get down Kin. That's perfect. Denies a lot of the value there as well. So now LG looking incredibly strong here at the point when it looked kind of a little bit uncertain.
Naga, Galactic Legend coming in over the top, hunting down. LG just looking to put this one away. They don't want to deal with anything else. That's a triple for Naga. And that is round one done and over with. And you see the compositional superiority there where, you know, over halfway through OG, they bend the knee of Vast to go, I guess we'll go triple strategist too.
And I think also it's just, I mean, that's just the gambit. And I think that's what's so cool when I talk about we're going to see some fun comps coming out, is that LG has played a slightly different style in Europe compared to many of the top teams. Really the most comparable is maybe like Ex Oblivione when we saw them earlier, where they got to make some interesting swaps with the Vanguards and things like that. Like LG has always loved playing a more varied roster choice, I think, overall in terms of their compositions compared to like a Virtus.pro or even like an OG. So this has been and even, I mean, previous Fnatic now is 0%. So I do think that like this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup overall, because LG loves to play some more interesting things, and OG has also been showing that like, oh man, what if we like play some Jeff, which obviously I doubt we're going to see the Jeff here. Probably just going to be the speed bubbles coming out here again, but it's possible, but probably not.
Yeah, especially on this map, the Jeff just, you know, helping the team going forward from there. But we do have the full switch up from OG coming in with the triple strategist, so mirror match is going to be in play. Naga, though, looked absolutely fantastic on the Star-Lord in the first round. Just right place, right time. Key damage focus fire onto the Groot when needed. Let's see if that level of play continues here, Vast, into the second round.
Naga, they're going to take the bulwark as well, just trying to, I mean, pretty much forcing the soul bond pretty earlier, forcing a lot of live streams, is now LG happy with some of those cooldowns they've taken out, and also the soul resurgence just being gone for Kin now. They can just come back in later. They just traded the strategist.
LG was trying to bend but not break, but Groot just broke. Trust me, got focused on down. OG settling into this triple strategist comp. They invested Strangling Prison at the end, but for them, they just want to make sure this first fight goes flawlessly.
It did. I mean, it's a 2-ult fight, but I think you can walk away happy with that. You were able to farm a little bit more of their bank. OG can be confident there. That was worth the invest. Always worth the invest to win the first fight. You get the first cap. As LG looking for the retest here, they are going to have a bit of a strategist ult advantage, which means that they can be really aggressive. They know they can just like walk forward. It's a lot of it's going to be on Snaze in terms of can he land the meteor in, because typically Magneto going to be one of the only counters to strategist ult to allow you to burst through some of that damage. As Naga once again looking to try to get on the flank, try to find someone, maybe force out an early ult, force out an early cooldown.
Also just trying to build his own Galactic Legend. Tanuki has been holding Galactic Legend here for a while. Maybe Legend be Legend. Invisible Boundary going to be forced out early. Snaze looking for the Meteor M. Is it going to connect for OG? The answer is no. Invisible Boundary ticking on down. Solar Surge is in for Luminosity. And it's Naga. Galactic Legend good to go. Legend v Legend in the air. Meteor M from Jaro at the same time takes down Mantis. Enzo, though, on the Destroid on the other end. Both teams down one. Destroid gonna res himself right back into the fray. Naga, though, able to get Tanuki towards the very end of the Legend. Now looking for more in or the top. Pummels down the Magneto. And Naga continues to rip OG apart. But the res coming in from Etsu, Avast, is quite big.
Yeah, the res, I mean, this is what they were waiting for, right? They're like, okay, we just keep committing. And for OG, you can feel actually relatively happy here because you have the soul resurgence, but the sleep really good, making sure Enzo's just not in this fight. Alex going down. They have to find some more. They have to find something off this soul resurgence. As this fight's just breaking down, I think LG, they should be able to secure this, barring some very bad focus fire.
Well, they lose Destroyed. That's rough. Naga, though, takes down the Warlock on the other end. Cocoon coming back into fray. Etsu back alive, but Naga still continuing to go wild on the cleanup. The downside here for LG, though, Vast, is that they started off this fight, or they started off this round pretty rough ult-wise. OG used their ults to get first control, and, you know, they've been in the hole ever since.
I think for them though is that they have the bank advantage, right? Like they have this, they have the time bank advantage. They have a lot of time to make up for this. As LG, I mean, they're just gonna be looking to take probably a very, very aggressive fight. As Tanuki has to be careful, doesn't want to get caught there on the flank a little early. Having to use the bulwark, having to use the shield there as well from Alex. As OG look to take the fight, they're trying to take the flank, try to find anyone, try to find anything that they can just pressure, and that's the name of the game here. We're trying to recontest here on domination.
Tanuki working the outside corners. LG, though, completely stacked ult-wise. Just missing the Karmic Rebirth. They'll even have a visible boundary here in a second. We got the Star-Lord v Star-Lord on the side. Naga not shying away. No, getting pummeled in turn. Strangling Prison, though. Gonna be dropped. Visible boundary down for OG. Trying to slow it down a little bit. Etsu's able to find Destroyed. Here we go. Legendary in from Naga. They try to put LG in over the top. Meteor M, though, drop by stays in response. Looking for the Star-Lord. Not gonna hit it. Meanwhile, Naga getting Tanuki on the side. LG getting it on the margins here, Avast. Real close to taking this round away.
And now for OG, I mean, by the time this next fight happens, they're getting staggered here like pretty late. They're getting 2 late elims, which means that OG really gonna have one last good fight. You might be able to recontest for the portal after, but you're coming in here with the Galactic Legend. You're gonna have the Karmic Revival. You'll have, so pretty much you have some options to sustain. You have an option to come back into the fight with the Karmic Revival. And so much of this dance now is, okay, are they just gonna pop, or can they get out the invisible boundary from Fate early versus just getting it to counter the Galactic Legend? Because I feel like that's the best case situation there for OG, is if they can get out early, unless maybe Rojaro just saves the Meteor M.
Yeah, they're gonna Meteor M for it, I think. And oh, they're just gonna kill Etsu. Etsu gets dropped as soon as showing his face. So already he's gonna use the res. That's off immediately. Galactic Legend now can be used by Tanuki. Tried to keep OG in. Rojaro, as expected, Meteor M in response, dropping it. No kill just yet, but a wounding Groot in the process. But the Strangling Prison in for OG, sets up Snaze for 3. Tanuki in off the outskirts. OG not out of it just yet.
And actually, I think if you're LG there, I mean, first of all, they have to make sure Destroyed, they can't go down. Destroyed and Naga, they can't go down that late. Naga, though, going down. They have to keep someone else alive. They're not going to keep Destroyed alive either. And I mean, now they're down 2 here for this last fight, CP. And Naga's going to be able to get the res, going to use that team up. But I think because of that, now they're going to be just like staggering here into the point. They're coming through the portal. There's no health alive. There's no strategist up. I mean, LG, I mean, Destroyed has to pop a Karmic Revival, maybe keep them up longer. But if they're just in a stagger fight, a long stagger fight, CP.
And honestly, they decided not to pop it. I think this is where LG is going. We got another round. It's fine. OG was going out of the way to be economical. So is LG. So LG, they save both the Galactic Legend and the Karmic Revival for next round. I actually think that's smart. They could have thrown more into that fight, but decided against it.
Very important to be, you know, not just thinking about your economy in terms of the amount of ults you have, but like, is it worth it to use it? Especially in a map like Domination where you know it's going to carry over. You're just going to be feeding ult charge to OG when you know you're just staggering in there. And LG kind of having a really unfortunate fight there where they get the pick early off of Rojaro, and they're like, okay, we can play really aggressively here, right? We can invest the Strangling Prison, we can try to catch more, but because of that, they don't really get the value they got out of the first pick because they still had to pop their invisible boundary really early to deal with Tanuki's Galactic Legend, and then they just lost picks on the side because they were just so aggressive, they were so split. So LG almost getting a disadvantage by choosing to commit off the pick they got from Rojaro.
So it all comes down to a final round. Map 1 of our money match here in Rivals Fight Night EU. Kicking off with a bang, much like our Challenger match did, but we did see the end result, so we'll see the adaptations the teams end up making. OG, though, coming in with a slightly more significant ult bank here, Vast, and you gotta think that Snaze is gonna be out here, perhaps looking for an early Meteor M, or you just use Invisible Boundary to set the tone. Naga, early Galactic Legend being used here. Looking into the back, no ults being used on the support end, instead just a Meteor M. Getting away of most of the Galactic Legend. Rojaro, though, was able to get the Star-Lord down early. One advantage here for LG as they move in. Now Invisible Boundary gonna be popped as OG tries to hang in there. The Tanuki, though, on the self-res. Alex with 2, and OG finding a way off the Strangling Prison.
And this is why OG, this team has been so good. I mean, also, sure, the Karma Revival comes out, but they're stuck here in this corner. This could be a worst case scenario where luckily it seems like they're going to get the health that they need, but the split here from the wall, not even a chance. I mean, there's just so much happening in the corner. Another wall again, wall, door stuck as Naga trying to find one there. Gonna have to back on up as OG Esports. I mean, they're still controlled the point here though. So after all this, after the heroics coming out from LG to stay in this, they really got nothing from it. And OG just getting more bank, more ult.
Yeah, and the other problem is too is you take a look at OG is rather LG is a little bit drained here. They just got the Meteor M, might be in response to Tanuki dropping Galactic Legend here in a second. We'll see how this one pans out, but you see the poke damage coming in onto the group. Pretty significant. Enzo having to take a breather back. Stays though, finding Naga early. Naga's on the flank, gets punched in turn. Both teams down one. Meteor M though coming on over. Naga able to do the self-res. Not too bad here for LG as they move on in. Instead, it's gonna be Etsu dropping Karmic Rival. They really want the group back in action early. They're gonna get Tanuki back off it too. But still, Naga making his presence known, driving the Galactic Legend, driving OG back. And this should still be enough for LG to get the point as Naga continues to go wild.
LG should definitely have the flip here. And honestly, that Karmic Revival may be a little over-aggressive, a little trying to be a little bit too ambitious, just dropping the one man, hoping to get Enzo back in the fight, keep the anchor, build a Strangling Prison. And because they're down that ult, Enzo just immediately goes down right after that. LG now, despite having to invest, despite being down in the bank, their position's pretty okay currently. And they're going to be fighting this high ground really aggressively. You see the bridge control so important, just making sure they can't get up for free. Strangling Prison about to be up. I mean, so much of this is going to be based around the Strangling Prison here for Trust Me. Even better. I mean, Naga goes down.
They get Naga early. I still think they're going to use the prison here, just make it a clean fight. Meteor M from Stays coming on over. Now, Strangling Prison out. Tanuki down, 2 down off the prison. Etsu firing back, though, not out of it yet is OG. Invisible Boundary dropped the other end. Now we just look at Trust Me, trying to keep space up. Still in control of the point is LG. OG.
Look at the bank
able
for
to
OG,
take Naga on the
ZP.
side. Yeah, it's not great right now. But LG,
It's really not good. I mean, there's a chance here for LG. I mean, LG, their bank's so good. They should have an opportunity to maybe get one. They have the Invisible Boundary. Surely this has to be a turning point. They have to get one. They have to get any picks right now, or OG's bank is going to be fantastic coming back in.
Yeah, OG, I mean, looking for the re-engage opportunity. Tanuki about to use Galactic Legend. May not be an immediate response. Oh, they're going to have the Meteor M for it, but Enzo gets Naga again. Naga's flanks getting shut down repeatedly, but while this happens, Trust Me is able to get 2, punishing Stays for the pickoff. Tanuki dropping Galactic Legend, looking for a way back over and in. Right now, getting a whole lot of nothing off the Galactic Legend. Instead, gets sniped out of the sky.
Luckily, Karmic Revival up. They're going to have the Invisible Boundary. Force Physics getting one, Fate putting Enzo off the map, but OG Esports, this is exactly what I was talking about for this late tempo ZB, because it looks like, oh, LG, they're getting the picks, right? Everything's looking really good, but OG just was able to build their bank so effectively because no one goes down in that earlier fight when Fate commits the Invisible Boundary. So now they get the control here. It's just the ult tempo being so powerful in the game of Marvel Rivals. The ult tempo just determines so much here at the highest level, even with the neutral picks. You see a little bit of dueling from the Star-Lord is going to be expected. And right now, when you see just kind of a low fight, more of a neutral fight, Tanuki, if the pressure has to be on to remove Naga, maybe even remove the Galactic Legend off the field early, though I guess they're still going to have the team up there.
Well,
so
what's probably going to happen is Naga's about to open the Galactic Legend. It's going to get answered by Snaze and Meteor M. So, yeah, immediately Galactic Legend, Meteor M out. Snaze looking. Tanuki getting really, really low, nearly dying to Naga on the other side. Naga, though, still looking for opportunities. Snaze, Meteor M is gone. Galactic Legend faded. Both teams still at a full 6. Tanuki, though, eating damage from Naga, still on the hunt. But Solar Surgeon's in from OG. But coming in is Trust Me off the prison, grabbing 2, now 3, setting up Rajaro. And just like that, LG back onto that point. It is overtime. That's where wins this fight, wins the map. And it's looking like it's going to be LG.
I mean, Trust Me showing again why you see so many Groot bans earlier in today. Groot so incredibly strong, even through the Invisible Boundary. I mean, just using the wall to guarantee more burst damage, split the heals from the rest of the strategists in the backline, and just focus that fire. Trust Me, getting incredible value there from the Strangling Prison. And it's why Groot is a Vanguard that is so meta-defining, and why players have said, like, oh yeah, like, you have to play Groot. If it's an option, like, you really need the option to play Groot because he just does so much damage, and it's really just the utility of his walls being able to split damage, being able to split heals.
Well, it's also the reason, too, where it's like, it really shows the team's identity, right? Where neither of these teams shy away from playing Groot, but teams, for example, like Exoblivione, who don't really like running Groot as much, they will immediately ban it every time. They do not want to deal with Groot for any reason if you cannot really fight evenly Groot versus Groot. But, man, you look at the stats here, about as close gets. Puckett, you're watching from the outskirts here. What was looking out to you this game as it really came down to the wire?
Yeah, I think a great start from OG, and then it was LG taking it back behind Naga. I think the difference, if you look at the final blows, Tanuki had just 8 final blows. I know that he's supposed to be a Wolverine Star-Lord main. I don't love the Star-Lord when we see him. Either he's having an issue, or it's just credit to the strategist, keeping everyone up and minimizing the impact of that Galactic Legend. But either way, Luminosity getting it done on the backline, and of course, trust me, some huge strangles getting it done on Groot.
Yeah, overall, I mean, trust me, continues to be an extremely flexible tank for LG. And you talk about that point for Tanuki on the Star-Lord. I feel like also another strong selling point for LG is that they've always been really built around enabling Naga, right? They're always going to be getting presence, whether it be bulwarks, whether it be the Guardian Shields or Invisible Woman, just letting Naga get the most amount of value possible around the positioning. And I think that's one thing that LG is one of their strengths, is like they have a very dynamic style of play, in particular building around Naga, where OG Esports, they feel a lot more, I guess, balance across the board. The only time they feel like they're heavily investing in one player typically is when Tanuki's like on the Wolverine.
One thing that I think is worth noting here, though, is that, for the advantages that LG had, I do wonder how this game goes down if OG just opens on the triple strategist, because there was such an economic back and forth that was going on here, right? OG came out on a comp that was just clearly not as effective for how these teams match up against each other. It just felt like they were fighting from behind the entire way through.
I don't know if we see Adam Warlock allowed to be played the remainder of this series. If I'm OG, I'm banning him out. Go to what was working in the previous series against Ex Oblivione. Just remove the res comp from the equation, minimize the damage of the Star-Lord, make sure he's not cocooning for free. See what you can do, because Luminosity was playing extremely clean in that opening and third round. As we take a look at some of the highlights, we've got a lot of star players in this lobby. Is Trust Me the player to watch right now from Luminosity? If not Avast, who do you have eyes on?
I mean, it's definitely still Naga. I think Naga is like the majority of their plays like typically revolve around Naga making that play happen. But Trust Me has always been a center point. Like I talked about it earlier, how those two players typically drive the focus. It's going to be Trust Me, it's going to be Naga driving the focus for this team. But typically Naga as the duelist is going to be a little bit more of the focal point in terms of like making those opening picks, just seeing like the flank plays in general. And it showed here on this point. But you definitely can't say like, oh, I'm not going to look at Trust Me, because especially when he's on the group, when he's on the Venom, he is getting a lot of value out of his kid.
Shout out to Unclear in the chat saying it's not Tanuki's fault. He's a Jeff main. They won't let him play his main.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Speaking of, it will be Tanuki and OG Esports who gets the next map selection. That's how it works here in our best of fives. So ZP, for anyone who's tuning in for the first time, we just jumped in about 200 new viewers. What are they witnessing? What's on the line for Luminosity and OG Esports?
Well, what's on the line beyond the pride and the glory is $1,000. This is our money match for the EU region here at Rivals Fight Night. We just invite some of the best teams from EU, from NA, and we have them play together in some of the closest matches we can find. So, respect your time and respect the players' time. But the money is on the line, and LG is now one map closer to it. But we'll see where OG brings us, because format-wise, once you lose a map, you can go to any other map in the game aside from the map that was just played, or rather, a map that's been played in the series. So if you're a team that you have pocket map picks where you think you have a way over the other team, you can pick that, and you can flex what you're really good at here at Rivals Fight Night.
Yeah, just work on a few pocket strategies on your map picks, and you could at least get to a game 5. That's how it works here on Rivals Fight Night. Avast, we've got some more fun coming up. A question from the chat, though. Why have we not seen any Human Torch? We've seen Thing, we've seen Invisible Woman. Where's Human Torch at? Where's Mr. Fantastic? Why aren't they played by the pros?
He's resting. He's resting right now. I think overall Human Torch, despite some of the recent buffs they gave to him as well, it's just, unfortunately, he's not mobile enough. He's not as fast as Star-Lord. He doesn't do as much damage or give as much like utility as like a Storm. And he also doesn't have as much insta-pick potential, like in terms of getting an immediate pick on the flank, especially with the team-up bonuses from like a Hela or a Winter Soldier. Currently, his kit just isn't that strong at the top level, even though, oh, it's so cool. I have the Flaming Tornado, right? Like, don't we want to get the Flaming Tornado, guys? Like, that's so cool. But it's not enough to make it into the play currently. So Johnny's gonna have to be working a bit more, not Johnny from Overwatch, but rather Johnny being the Human Torch in this case.
Of course.
Gonna have to be working a bit on getting a bit better kit, I think, currently right now before making it out of the bench, I would say, out of the dugout.
Yeah, he's got like a combo that instant kills somebody, but you also use all of your cooldowns. So you can do that once. Good luck afterwards against a pro. ZP, as we're jumping into this one, we know our map. We're going to Shin-Shibuya. Will this be a long one?
I think it will be. I think both these teams are good enough that I don't think we're going to see a first point hold. I think this is one of the maps where, I mean, you can see first point holds, but it's not as common. I think both are good enough to manage your ult economy, at least get through there. I think it will be a game, though, where, you know, the time-based economy is going to be, you know, pretty definitively set after first point. But either way, I do think this is going to be a longer one. And what I'm curious on here is the attitude towards Hela, right? Is OG going to open up with like first ban Hela the entire series, or will they decide, okay, there's worse things to deal with, like, for example, Star-Lord comps that they've been, you know, dealing with the entire day, right? Like, for me, between the two, after what just transpired, I would probably rather deal with Destroyed than deal with what was a little bit of a Star-Lord difference going on between Naga and Tanuki in the last map. So for me, I'm really curious to see if the ban strategy changes here from OG.
And what does Destroyed even play? He was just forced onto the Adam Warlock. You know, no one played Adam Warlock for the first 2 months of this game. Now he's in a lot of lobbies. But if Destroyed is going to be on his ideal main or his ideal duelist, who do you expect him to pull out, ZP?
It's got to be Hela, right? And again, it's just because their weapons are actually very similar in effect, you do see the standard where your Hela player is often your Adam Warlock player. And when Hela's banned, you'll go, okay, Hela's banned, we'll run a Warlock comp. And, you know, in terms of how you're playing it, at least your primary fire, it's very similar, right? It feels good to play Warlock if you're playing Hela and vice versa. So that's kind of where you see Destroyed's hero pull at. And if Warlock isn't, or rather if Hela isn't banned, probably gonna see Destroyed back in the Hela.
If we go back to a group ban, getting Trust Me off of that, do you think you want to see Thing and Magneto from Enzo and Snaze, or what has been the best look from the Vanguards on OG Esports, have asked?
I mean, for OG, they really like the Thing. They've definitely been rotating towards like a Thing Magneto comp. All of Europe, a lot of it, even North America, has been rotating towards that comp just because of the amount of flexibility it gives you and the amount of damage as well from the Thing. But I mean, on a map like Shin-Shibuya, you can even go back to the tried and true, Reliable, Doctor Strange, Magneto. You can play that as well. There's a lot of opportunity to get value from the portals, use the Cloak of Levitation to get above people, set up your ults for the Eye of Agamotto. The shield, of course, because there's big chokes, you can block a lot of the damage, right? Which is the benefit of having a giant round shield. So I do think that if you're looking for OG, they have a lot of different options. I don't think any of them are bad because they know that they're not going to be dealing with some more untraditional picks or non-traditional, like in terms of like they don't want to deal with the Wolverine. They probably won't be dealing with, you know, I mean, no Hela for sure. They won't be having to deal with a Hela.
Raptor says, look out for the Destroyed Punisher. With the Hela out of the mix, maybe we get to see Big Pun. They said, okay, you're getting rid of Hela. We're going to make sure you don't play Wolverine, buddy. Good luck, Tanuki.
Yeah, the back and forth going on here. Let's see what OG protects if there's any change from last time around. LG, you know, deciding, okay, we are going to go with the Namor. I do wonder, the interesting thing about LG protecting the Namor is that for OG, if you didn't want to run triple strategist, you would get rid of the Adam Warlock or something here, right? But if you do, then that enables the Luna to be played and it would empower the Namor. So LG, by protecting the Namor, in a sense, even if they can't play the Namor comp, they guarantee at the very least that they can go forward and play with the Adam Warlock triple strategist comp. So that's kind of the layers of strategy you're dealing with right here.
Making sure that Ken gets his Loki. You're going to see Luna is removed. So the Namor, if he's in the game, at least he is not going to be overpowered. Invisible Woman ban is something I didn't expect. So we've got Loki, we've got Mantis, Adam Warlock. What other strategists are you expecting here, Vast? Is there a Cloak and Dagger coming out?
No, probably not Cloak and Dagger. If anything, this points towards like ZP's point there of like, okay, we're going to have the Namor to threaten the possibility that you can't get rid of, like, oh, like, do we really want to have the opportunity to have to play into the team up there for Namor, Luna Snow, or do we ban the Adam Warlock? Adam Warlock, I think, is gonna be the play here. We see a ton of Star-Lord get played, so you have the Adam Warlock for the team up. You see a Mantis come out. I think if anything, like, especially with Invisible Woman being gone, so that's a lot of the sustain for a lot of these comps that get gone. Typically, it's the secondary strategist that goes with Loki. I think it's just gonna be a ton of Adam Warlock and Star-Lord. Might be wrong though, but like that's what it feels like. It's in the air.
While we're waiting on the game to kick off, quick shout out to everyone tuning in for NA. That is coming up after this. This is our EU money match right now. Luminosity, 1 game up over OG Esports. When we return the later tonight, 100 Thieves is going to be the defending champs from NA. You'll hear Uber and Jake with Shroud X versus Shikigami to open things up. Take it away, ZP. Let's get back to EU.
You know, I just had flashbacks here, Vest, thinking back to last time we saw LG on this map last week. Remember Naga just setting up on the Namor in the corner and was completely unstoppable? They definitely had to get rid of the Luna here and did. I don't think OG wanted to deal with that, so I think that's why they'd rather deal with the triple strategist setup.
Yes, they fear the Naga Namor, which, I mean, you know, that's fair, but I mean, the Naga Star-Lord, especially when you have this combination, these team-ups coming out from Destroyed and level 1 Crook, just still gives a lot of value. And it's exactly right. I mean, with Invisible Woman gone, it means there's not a lot of sustain in terms of like pure sustain, that bulk sustain. So you're going to be playing just a lot of this triple strategist comp here with the Star-Lord is. Ooh, Enzo immediately taking a lot of poke, already down.
Yeah, easy picking the neutral. Rajaro right now just walking forward, easy picks. And on the opposite end, OG a little bit discombobulated. Oh, the classic, when you just walk off the map for the reset. Love it.
And that's just the, you know, you start to see that, especially at the, I mean, it's funny because we're still very early on in the professional scene for Marvel Rivals, and a lot of teams would still be afraid to reset. And finally, you're just seeing teams like, okay, we should just reset. Like, we should reset. The spawns aren't in our favor. We don't want to stagger. We don't want to feed the ult charge. And that's how you know that we're starting to reach a little bit of a slight maturity, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, the eternal fight is not necessarily where you want to go. And oh my word, look at all the damage being thrown into Enzo right now. Enzo lucky not to get bursted down. Naga being relentless. Galactic Legend, he's built Galactic Legend like 40% quicker than Tanuki and is immediately gonna pop it. Strangling Prison used in turn, and that is
look at the kill box. Look at the kill box. I mean, just look, they put the walls up. Like, I'm sure people have seen the Groot TikTok tech of like, okay, you're gonna like put like 4 like walls down, immediately just execute there with the Thorn Lash. But instead, you're just gonna use a Galactic Legend. You box them in, and that had to feel bad. But also for OG Esports, you can feel pretty happy because it's a pretty fast wipe. It means you didn't give a lot of ult charge to LG. Your guys almost come up as Enzo's gone to the Venom now. So they want to use Enzo essentially as a way to like remove some of these people on the high ground, make the strategists have to turn around. That survivability of Venom being very crucial.
I'm a fan of it. The problem is, though, Naga, early pick on Etsu. Etsu's going to bring themselves back up, but still, it's a Warlock down for a decent length of time. Snaze working here in the outskirts. Meteor M ready to go. OG looking for any opening possible at the moment. For now, prioritizing the point. Snaze, though, getting very low. Doesn't pop the Meteor M under pressure. Good self-control. Meanwhile, though, Tanuki into the backline, able to find Crook. I think Crook is going to be bringing themselves back up here in a second. But may have been a cooldown, actually. Instead, nope, non-cooldown. Crook is back. Meanwhile, Tanuki going to use Galactic Legend. Meteor M being used at the same time, waiting and waiting. And able to get Trust Me down, and OG slowly trying to grit this through here, Vast, as the fight develops.
And OG, I mean, they've done a really good job. They forced out the Karmic Revival. They put them here into the corner. That pressure from Tanuki, from Enzo, boxing them in, and they're still going to have some strategy ults available. They're going to have the Meteor Arm as well, trying to keep everyone up from Naga. They don't have anything else other than Karmic Revival, but Tanuki immediately, LeBron gets hit with it.
Yeah, once more, Tanuki getting hit with the Meteor M. However, Naga back into the fray, off the cocoon, picking up where he left off, had a great Galactic Legend to kick things off. Blaster Barrage into the thick of OG. OG just getting well down, and Naga again, such a threat on the Star-Lord.
I mean, Alex committing the Solar Resurgence, OG Esports, they don't want to give this up. They know it's potentially last fight. They're going to take down Zestroid. The Solar Resurgence gives you so much value here. Alex also just using that extra damage from the Mantis, knowing they don't have to worry about the sustain. They need to get another Fate going down. And I think OG, they might be able to clean this up finally. There's no more ults left here for LG. It's just a long, slow fight. They have the fast spawns well with Enzo being on the Venom. This should be the cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, they're down over 4 at the moment. They have the cleanup they needed. They're going to get the convoy moving, but that was tortured. I just wonder if you're, the OG coaching end, you're looking at this going, you know what, maybe dealing with Hela isn't that bad, because I don't think the Warlock mirror has been particularly ideal for them so far.
Get down, Mr. President, President Loki, just the 3 of them on the point there. I do think that here as well, when you're playing into this combo, like Enzo can put a lot of pressure onto his backline, but it's very hard to get any limbs here, right? I think forcing the regeneration domain is actually one of the best case scenarios, but look, you force the cooldown with an ult. Is that really that good? I don't know. I don't think so. Ooh. As Naga immediately down, I mean, loses the Galactic Legend.
Yeah, Naga might be bringing themselves right back up, but down the Legend is still huge. Meteor M out from Snaze, finding Crook. And just like that, OG starting to get a little bit of momentum in this map finally. Quick back into the fray. Tanuki, though, into the back. Nothing but headshots. And gets the Warlock in the middle of Karmic Revival. Not able to get any finish off the after, but still a nice pick off from Tanuki. Right place, right time. Still holding Galactic Legend. Might be about to use it here. We'll see. Instead decides, nope, I am my own legend. Blaster Barrage in or the top. OG continuing the feast.
And looking a lot, I mean, the OG looking a lot more comfortable, honestly, like playing this Venom comp, just keeping the pressure on to the LG backline, not giving them space. As Trust Me has gone to the Strange just for the contest. They're going to make it on back. See, there's going to be the copy. The God of Mischief out. Soul Resurgence as well for Fate. So they just need to find one. They're looking for anything right now, committing these ults here on the point. And they are. They're finally going to find Snaze. But Etsu has the Karmic Revival.
And gonna immediately use it here. Getting Stays right back into the fray. Tanuki dropping Galactic Legend right after. Looking for Crook into the backline. Rajaro drops the Meteor M to mitigate a decent chunk of it. Ooh. And it's Rajaro just taking Tanuki out of the sky. However, rezzed back up. Karmic Rival was still active. OG not down anyone here just yet. Snaze, though, getting real low in turn. God of Mischief being popped here by Ken. As OG Esports looks to stay in, they're able to get Crook. OG still in a decent spot right now. Naga is down, and OG slowly but surely gritting this one out of Ast.
I mean, Enzo just being an absolute menace. Once the fight breaks down, just being able to just do so much damage here. The Galactic Legend's going to be used, but I mean, Venom can sustain all that damage, honestly. Venom has the symbiotic resistance. They have opportunities here, but LG, I mean, they're gritty. They're playing this. They're playing this out. They're trying to stay in as long as they can. They're forcing even more ults out of OG. This fight should have been over 2 times over, but LG just keeping the sustain alive, and that's the power of the Adam Warlock comp, just getting constant revivals.
Ooh, Naga getting to the back, getting on the Etsu. Rajaro, though, getting really low. 40 HP in a dream. Somehow doesn't die in all that. Fate, meanwhile, going down Tanuki. Finding room into the back line. Blaster Barrage. Into the back. Rajaro, though, res back up from the Karmic Revival. Still pressure onto Loki. In from Tanuki. Looking, getting real close to Vest. Now switching gears onto Mantis. Reload. Ill-timed. Can't finish off just yet, but the Blaster Barrage does it enough. And OG getting to the apex of the second point. Now looking for third.
I feel like I should be haggardly breathing. Like, I mean, you use the term torturous for first point, for point A of Shin-Shibuya. I mean, this is extremely torturous. OG Esports having to fight for literally every single inch, sometimes the same inch, multiple times over. It's just, there's so much sustain in this comp as LG. What's that? Trust me, decided to mirror the Venom. They said an honorable Venom duel. Finally 2 Venoms on the field here. So there's just going to be a lot of chaos on the field here where these backlines need to keep themselves alive, they need to keep themselves sustained, as Tanuki and Naga are going to be dueling on the flanks.
Only had the orange Venom, but not yet. Tanuki, though.
Not quite.
We're working to the back. See what he has here. Instead, get checked by the Warlock. A little bit of karmic damage in his face. Has to back up. Trust me. Trying to do a little bit of disruption right now. Enzo, though, says time to feast. Naga doesn't care. Galactic Legend finding Mantis into the back. Stays. Counter. Meteor M. Finds destroyed. Still in it is OG. God of Mischief going to be popped here. Now we look at Rajaro in a second here. Meteor M good to go. LG with 3, and OG might be the old reset.
The stagger. Look, they're gonna do stagger on Snaze. They're trying to keep him alive as much as possible. Very late Soul Resurgence as well for Alex, just trying to chase down, or rather, yeah, just trying to chase down, I should say, for level 1 Crook, any extra limbs. Not gonna find much, and honestly, that actually might be a bit of a blunder there for LG, because OG Esports, I mean, they're gonna have some ults in the bank.
But they just got another 2. No blunder found here. They just continue staggering. And as overtime goes in the process, I mean, yeah, Tanuki and Alex come back up, but the positioning is rough. The self-res is enough. Here comes Rajaro, though. Meteor M looking into the doorway. No pick from that. Alex, though, down in the back. Tanuki, though, Galactic Legend in the back himself. Finds the Mantis, looking for more. Under pressure, just dodging, weaving, diving. 20.
They can't hit him.
Dream. They can't. He gets healed back up. Gets the Warlock healed at the very end. Tanuki staying alive against all odds. Moves back into the fight. LG, though, getting res stuff of their own. Trust me, able to find Etsu into the back. Here comes Tanuki for the duel back 50 HP. Goodness. Not going to survive this time at best.
I mean, this is just so sad for Tanuki. Survived for so long. The Galactic Legend here on the point. There's a chance, though. I mean, they have the Meteor M. If they find one, there's still a possibility, but no, I mean, they just have the Soul Resurgence. It should be a low, very long, slow loss here, unless something incredible happens. Unless there's Miracle in the outfield, Miracle in Shin-Shibuya, I don't think anything's going to happen.
Enzo can still delay a little bit longer here with Feast, even with Rajaro getting the pick in the back line. Trust me, though, adding on, how much longer can Enzo delay? I mean, it's a Venom. It could be a surprisingly long delay.
Oh, this fight's gonna last like literally years. Kin does go down though, so it finally, I think this should be slowing up. I mean, this is just the power of the Venom, right? Venom is just a very unmovable object, very unmovable object, and despite some good swift moves, this should be the end.
Well, Luminosity finding their footing towards the end, but that was a back and forth slobber knocker if I've ever seen one. I mean, part of it is like kind of the nature of triple strategist versus triple strategist, where your pickoffs are not necessarily pickoffs because half the squad is just coming right back, right? So with or without the Warlock ult, it's just the nature of the team up.
ZP just said slobber knocker.
That he did. That he did. I mean, Puckett coming in, giving some heart. Hey, it's true. You can't say that he's wrong. He did. He said it.
It's an accurate term. You know, it checks out. You can debate the origins, going back to some old wrestling terms, but as far as I'm concerned, accurate term for what we just saw. And now we'll see how things change with OG on the defense versus Luminosity.
Or perhaps how they stay the same, even. You know, maybe. I mean, this could be an interesting opportunity to be thinking with portals again, ZP. Trust me here on the Strange. I mean, we used to see a lot of Strange, I think, in the past on this map. But for Luminosity, it's very likely that they might just see, okay, let's use the portals, let's get behind them, let's get around this very strong first choke point for the first point of Shin-Shibuya. And overall, I mean, Doctor Strange used to be a staple in general of most comps, and they could always swap back to the Venom. So we'll see, just farming up some armor packs from Fate right now. I imagine everything else, though, going to be staying pretty much the same across the board, going back to Loki, yeah. And they are going to be thinking with portals. So probably just looking to set up here for the first offense, maybe get behind them here for Luminosity.
Of course, portal tech has been around a decent amount of time. OG should have a decent idea of where the portal is going to be coming on in. LG on the setup right now, and that is so much damage on the Enzo. He's deleted. He's just gone.
I mean, it's very seldomly do you ever see a focus fire onto the Venom, and then it works. Sestroid, though, getting caught by Kin, but luckily they do have that res. They have Cocoon up there for Luminosity, so the offense still in full swing.
Venom just saying here, Enzo going like, where's my Cocoon? What happens when that happens to me? It's like, well, you run back the old-fashioned way. Still,
just play the clip. I'm gonna miss you, buddy.
Tanuki working the back line, but Tanuki's working the back line. Trust me, he's getting way more done in the front. LG eviscerating this first point, and you think how hard OG had to work to get their first point avast. LG making it look easy, but that's also what happens when your Venom gets evaporated in 0.2 seconds to start out the fight.
Yeah, you don't see that too often, but last second test coming out here for OG. Enzo going on to the Strange themselves. Gonna have to use the regeneration domain. Making it out as Naga gets found. And they'll have the Cocoon, and they have to be worried though still because the bank here for Luminosity is still pretty strong. They also have this high ground that's so very powerful, and it looks like it should be enough barring disaster.
Well, got a mystery getting popped by OG. OG, not the greatest positioning out of the portal, still trying to make it happen. Naga, though, back in the fray, off the Cocoon. Fate finding Alex. I mean, honestly, winnable right now for OG. Solar Surge is going to be popped by Luminosity, but they are starting to run dry. Meanwhile, here comes Tanuki in the top. Has Galactic Legend ready to go. Naga popping his Galactic Legend first. No kills off it just yet. Instead, hunting down Tanuki. Tanuki waiting 250 HP. Now Galactic Legend of his own in or the top, looking for anything. Meteor M, though, going to be dropped in response for Jaro, punishing with the Meteor M. Luminosity still in control of the point, though. OG is buying time right now, Avast.
Ooh, almost hits that. I mean, OG, the recontest, looking incredible here to Luminosity. I mean, gonna force Sestroid to use the Karmic Revival, keep the fight going. I mean, we're on to what, like 2 minutes here? LG getting the res is finding one, but OG Esports, I mean, they still have plenty of sustain of their own.
They're staying in the fight. Sestroid, though, finding Tanuki towards the end. Feast gonna be popped here by Enzo. And taking down Rajaro. LG.
I think they've done it.
Able to stay. OG somehow, some way, off the portal where they got swarmed, still found a way back into the fight. And now, a minute 30 left, a first point hold could be in the cards.
I mean, just incredibly well played from OG Esports. Getting the contest, everyone gets there, stays alive. Tanuki, sure, goes down, but the amount of pressure they kept, the amount of ult bank, and just the general economy they were able to just keep the leapfrog going there was crucial for OG Esports, as now they're still on the point, sitting pretty. As LG, sure, their bank is good, but I mean, they've already had to do a lot here to desperately try to get the first point. It's pretty similar to OG Esports' similar offense.
Naga nearly getting bursted down. Lucky to still be alive. 85% still under pressure. Star-Lord versus Star-Lord here. Blast Barrage in from Naga, but guess what? The Galactic Legend now ready for Tanuki. Tanuki darting around, doesn't want to pop it here just yet. Instead, gets chased down. Fate and Naga teaming up. They deal with Tanuki. May have the Cocoon on tap, not entirely sure, but Etsu meanwhile, under pressure. Enzo here. Galactic Legend gonna be used by Naga, trying to keep LG in the fight on this first point. Shifting around to the side, a great focus onto Loki. Position-wise, found him. 2 more kills here for LG. And surely, Avast, you would think this would be enough. Galactic Legend though from Tanuki.
They want to commit. I mean, they had the Meteor Imp. They're going to get Etsu as well, but I think this has to do it. I mean, they make sure there's no Karmic Revival. This definitely should be it at the end. And after some hero plays again from Naga, just going around the regeneration domain, because you can't really focus it there, keeps everyone up, converting that damage to health, gets the pick there, making sure to open it up there with Kin gone. And Tanuki coming in saying like, no, wait, we still got more fight, surely, but gets immediately shut down. And that was another, I would say, torturous first point.
I love how Meteor M has just become the protect me from Star-Lord button more than anything else in this matchup. Like, protect me from Star-Lord, maybe get a kill onto a strategist in turn. But Snaze,
there's that
Meteor
dive.
M.
Very aggressive. Look at that bulwark too, both for Luminosity. Trust me, and Naga going in deep, not getting punished, but making a lot of space.
Tanuki quick pick on this Destroyed. Destroyed though, Cocoon right back into the phrase, so not going to be eliminated. Feast going to be popped here by Trust Me, trying to get things going for LG. Forces out the Soul Resurgence from OG in turn. Meanwhile, Naga again, real low. Would like to stay alive to drop the Galactic Legend here in a moment. Working in from the top. Tanuki with great positioning. That's ridiculous.
Fate popping it, trying to pop it to get the level 1 quick to get the Soul Resurgence on the copy. They lost it, immediately focused down. I mean, that's horrible for the tempo for Luminosity.
Yeah, that's a really good catch from Tanuki. Where on top of it being right place, right time, the damage just enough to get the kill right before the Soul Resurgence comes in. So brutal stuff as OG really finds their footing. Only a minute left here from Luminosity.
Oh, thank you, man. Production. Yes. Thank you. Fantastic.
Oh, it is a Venom game, you know? It's a Venom life we're in right now. Enzo drops on in, has herself a little snack, now runs away. Tanuki holding on to the Galactic Legend, same is Naga. Both Magnetos good to go. Enzo into the back. Solar Surgeon's gonna be popped here first by Luminosity as they look to set things up. Now Naga with the Galactic Legend. Stay says no way. Meteor M in turn. No one dead here just yet, but Naga still finds a way to the back. The tail end of the Galactic Legend gets 2. Both supports down. Even if they cocoon, the positioning is gonna be tough. LG, a great engage.
Now Luminosity looking to bring it in. There's still gonna be, it should be another fight here for OG potentially. They have very fast heroes. They have to make sure Enzo can't go down though. Enzo has to live. Enzo getting pressured. The Groot just sending the spears, gonna make it out. So there's still gonna be a chance here for the recontest. They're gonna have the Karmic Revival. They do have some options available. There's a lot of damage under Rogero. And watch the Strangling Prison here. Watch Tanuki. You have to make sure they don't get presence like they don't have. There it is, the very, very early Galactic Legend. Is it shut down? Looks like it is.
10 seconds left right now to get onto the convoy. Tanuki, Galactic Legend fading. Now, Blaster Barrage into the thick of things. Cocoon up, or Karmic Revival up here right now from Etsu. Tanuki still looking for a little bit of damage. Solar Surge is going to be popped. Fate for LG, keeping them in the fight here so far. Both teams looking somewhat drained on ult, but here comes Naga. Galactic Legend over the top. Deadly without a response on the other side. Gets down Tanuki, gets Alex for good measure, and Naga again finding room to work with.
It's just a beautiful ult tempo. Beautiful ult tempo here. There should be the cleanup. I mean, sure, Enzo will probably get the Feast of the Abyss, but it's just not going to be enough. There's no reason to pop it. The point is over. And they had to use those ults so early to touch. And because they have the Strangling Prison to remove a lot of the cocoons, to remove the Karmic Revival, Naga just gets to save the Galactic Legend. And unfortunately, Snaze just did not have the Meteor Imp, the Protect Me from Star-Lord button. Just not available.
Okay, final fight perhaps approaching here in a moment. Only a minute left for Luminosity. OG Esports need to hold strong here if they want to even up the series in our 1-to-3 money match here on Rivals Fight Night. All coming down to this here, Avast.
See some early Venom diving. Oh yeah, that's right. You do have the Symbiotic Resistance. That's fine. You can just see that blue bar. That's called the Symbiotic Resistance. That's the get out for free button. But Tanuki getting found in return from Naga, getting found on the flanks. That's a lot of damage off the field, forcing the Regen domain too.
Yeah, it's a quick early pick. Enzo, in response, drops the feast, trying to do a little bit more stall. Got a mischief going to be popped out by Ken. OG looking for anything here. Instead, they get dove on. They lose 2 supports into the back line. LG seizing the opportunity. Naga diving on in. Galactic Legend good to go. Pulls it. Gonna get the Meteor M out from Rajaro at the same time, pushing OG back. Luminosity nearly there, but Tanuki on the backside with Snaze. Ends up with 3, but the Karmic Rival is big, pulling all of LG back into the fight. Luminosity does not want to give this up. Tanuki, meanwhile, here on top, looking for a little Star-Lord versus Star-Lord right now. Naga, though, with Soul Bond. Tanuki still chasing down, going into the backside, 50 HP and dead. Naga not having any of that. Luminosity so close to the end here. Vast, they nearly have it. They push on forward and they go up 2-0 over OG Esports.
Oh man, and the Karmic Revival coming out from Cestroid for Luminosity, keeping everyone back up. The ult bank was depleted, and Tanuki almost making the play of the century. Just gets a little overly aggressive, gets caught. That was maybe their last hope, and there's just nothing left in the bank at that point. And I mean, a lot of credit to Naga, obviously, but I really like the Groot swap as well. The Groot swap for Trust Me, after the initial points off the Venom, the Groot keeps so much pressure there, and there was like much more narrow points overall for the cart, just getting so much damage, splitting the heals, using the Strangling Prison as well, especially when you're only really running. You have the Loki, you have the Mantis, right? But there's a lot less sustain on the field in general when you also have the Adam Warlock in that triple strategist comp. Because if your Mantis is down, right? Who are you going to copy? Is Loki? You're going to copy the Adam Warlock? You're going to go for a second Karmic Revival? It's hard to get a lot of value there. So having just a Strangling Prison just puts extra pressure into that composition.
You know, the other thing I have to say, too, is I think LG now, up 2 maps, a lot of people weren't necessarily expecting this. I think, LG, given the fact that, Luminosity had such a tough time versus VP last week, right? The things did not go well for them. People are going, well, OG, they've kind of been the proven second place team. Maybe they'll just run away with this. No, not the case. Luminosity has leveled up in just a span of 1 week, Bucket.
I feel like we haven't seen OG play their OG play style. The comps seem to be a bit off, trying to mirror what their opponents are doing, and it's a weaker version. OG outclassed right now in this grand final for EU, but there's plenty of match left in Avast. We have the highlights, so let's take a look at what was going wrong, because I feel like Rajaro is the one person I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should shut down Magneto, ban Magneto, so our Star-Lord can get some value. Every time we see Tanuki going for the ultimate on Star-Lord, it's not legendary at all. It's just eaten up and used against him.
Definitely. Rajaro kind of one of those players that it fulfills their role really well. Never necessarily been like the star, but someone that you need on a team because they do consistently keep value away from Star-Lord. So I love the Tanuki highlight here of them struggling to get up. I do think overall, like, it is just a moment where Magneto, there's a reason they're a staple hero, and it's because you have the ability to mitigate the value of the Galactic Legend. You have the bulwarks to empower your own, like, Star-Lord, your own duelist players. And so Rajaro, definitely a good highlight to say, like, oh, they've been anchoring this team in terms of, like, keeping them up, keeping them alive, and making sure they get the max amount of value from their duelist ults.
And I gotta say, I enjoyed seeing Enzo on the Venom. So maybe we can get a little bit more Venom play out of EU. Trust me, pulling it out on his own as well. But as you mentioned, I think his group was where they're at their strongest for Luminosity. Through 2 games, they're up 2-0. We got a game 3 coming up. If you're OG Esports, was there ever a moment that you can go back and be like, we lost the game right here, ZP? Was it close, or was this LG's game from the beginning?
I mean, in a way, it felt like LG's game from the beginning. I think OG definitely had opportunities, especially when they came back on their great defense on the second round. I think the key thing that, Vast brought up that I would just go back to is the idea that maybe they stayed on the Venom too long. I think the Groot swap really did put things over the top, and maybe there was a world where they should have seen that and said, okay, Enzo, it's time to go back to Groot, because it really did pay dividends in that final fight. And I mean, look, between these 2 teams, it has been really close. I would say the most defining aspect probably has been the Star-Lord mirror matchup, where I think Naga has gotten a bit more value than Tanuki, but OG, by comparison, they've still looked really good on cycling ults, and both maps in the end have come down to the wire. So even though we see Luminosity up 2 maps right now, the idea that OG could still turn this around into something like a reverse sweep, very much in the cards.
Production, if I'm supposed to go to a break, I refuse to do it. We're here, we're partying. It's Avast, it's ZP on the mic. And Avast, I did want to ask you a little bit. We've got this game 3 coming up. You've banned Hela, you've banned Luna. Do you mix things up if you're OG? And on the other side, You've now had Loki target banned and Invisible Woman, and you're making sure Tanuki does not touch this Wolverine throughout the series.
Yeah, I mean, I think we always get back to it, especially when we have like a ban protect phase in any sort of game. It's like, okay, one team is clearly losing. Now the match has been really close. I don't think there's been a blowout finals by any mean. Like there have been very much down to the wire for both the maps in certain capacities. So you could say like, well, next time it's going to be different for us next time. It didn't work the previous two, but it'll work this time, right? I would like to see a potential option to like, what if we just protect the Hela, right? What if we just protect the Hela? The thing is there, if we protect the Hela, I'm sure LG would be more than happy than to, get rid of the Loki, right? And so you remove a lot of the value there from the team up immediately off the bat, but you don't necessarily have to have that team up because that still is also a nerf for LG as well because they don't get to play Loki either. So I do think there's like an opportunity there. We're still a Hela just getting those picks, maybe able to put someone onto the Hela. Typically I think for OG, I'm pretty sure it's typically been Etsu. So I do think there's like an opportunity there just to get the value out, but also depends on the map. If the map isn't a very strong Hela-oriented map, then maybe it's not worth the effort. So I would like to see something change. Just anything.
And ZP, where should we go if we're OG? It's our last chance, potentially. This got to be our best map or best chance. So does Luminosity have holes? Is it domination that I'm going to be playing closest like in map number 1?
I think in this case, given that they've just been struggling versus Star-Lord, I think you do a 2-for-1 here in that, look, you've had a lot of really good practice on Path and even pocket strategies with the Jeff, right? So I think you bring us over to the Path, and then I do think you make sure you don't deal with triple strategist again. Luminosity has looked really, really strong with triple strategist comp. Look, playing against like Destroyed's Hela cannot be that bad by comparison. You're down 2 games in the hole in the triple strategist mirror. I think you change it up. You make it so you're not going to deal with a triple strategist game, and you go to a map that you've had a lot of practice on recently and leveled up on when you look at their performance versus Exible from week 2 to week 4. To me, that is, I think, the plan of attack you go on here as you go forward.
And as we start to think about MVPs in our $1,000 grand final here for Europe, Luminosity is on match point. So who has helped them the most through maps 1 and 2? Naga, if you're looking at final blows, leads the lobby, but he's playing on that duelist role where you're expected to do so. Avast, who would you give a shout out to?
I mean, honestly, I really like how Trust Me has played this series, in particular on the Groot. We've talked about how the Groot's been so crucial. I mean, that pick on the last map, I think our Shin-Shibuya was really, really good. His play on Hell's Heaven, outright won them several points, outrun them a point. So I do think that like Trust Me's flexibility and the play on the Groot has looked really, really good. I do think that's like been like I said, a focal point for this team. However, it's hovering on the edge, right? I think currently Naga, Trust Me, in my mind's eye, are they're fighting for viability. Maybe this last map kind of determines who gets the win out in there.
I was just looking through the chat. Shout out to everyone who is here. Why not be casting? My Halo fam has arrived. We've got people coming in from Apex Legends, my Call of Duty family checking out the stream for the first time. This is Marvel Rivals. It's all of your favorite characters from Avengers punching each other in the face, using abilities, working as a team. We've got healers, damage dealers, and tanks. Your tanks are going to be your Vanguard. Your damage dealers are your duelist, and your healers are your strategists. But what we learned from OG Esports is even if you pick a quote-unquote healer, you could build custom strategies around a single ultimate. If Jeff the Landshark comes out on Symbiotic Surface, we gotta go to his screen ASAP, ZP.
Yeah, I think we need the full-on Jeff cam no matter what. Look, it's not just what we want, it's what the people want. There's no world where you tell everyone's like, we can have a Jeff cam or something else, and they would ever choose something else. I mean, it's a fan favorite and for good reason. Also something that we haven't seen that often here in high-end competitive Marvel Rivals. So the fact that OG made it work in a real situation earlier multiple times was super cool. But Symbiotic Surface, I do like this pick if for nothing else. This is a map where you have more options in terms of defined strategy, how to play choke points. It's also a map where you have really good odds of getting a first point defense. So I think this is a map where OG is going to be digging deep into the strategy bank to find a way to turn the tide against what has been a much stronger than expected Luminosity squad.
It's one of my favorite to play, but Avast, from an analyst perspective, what are your expectations for Symbiotic Surface?
I mean, you could see more tried and true. This is a map where Star-Lord is still pretty good. You could obviously still see plenty of Magneto, see some Thing coming out instead, even some Venom if they wanted to, but probably like Doctor Strange, the Thing. The question really is, this is also a fantastic Hela map. maybe it's time to like bust it out. Maybe it's time to just try to bust it out, because we have seen Hella go absolutely like colossal on this. But if we're not going to see that, then more than likely, I wouldn't be shocked to see more of the same, with a lot more just like, you know, Winter Soldier, Naga, or rather Star-Lord. So I would love to see something else, just because it hasn't been working for OG previously on the other two maps, even though it has been close.
Bayman, if you're listening, I will give you $1 to ban Star-Lord. We have seen him in every single map since we started this show today. I would love to see a Star-Lord free lobby. We didn't see any Groot until this matchup. He has taken over. What will our players bring? This could potentially be the final map for Europe. It's a best of 5, $1,000 on the line. And Luminosity, our interim champion, looking clean so far. Shout out to ZP. Are you our unofficial like matchmaker behind the scenes?
I am, and doing it for multiple games now. So I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, what's my Discord gonna look like? And it's just player DMs across the board. But look, it's really fun cultivating the relationships, figuring out, okay, what is gonna be the best matchups every single week. And, you know, we try and do a service to the community and, you know, get the most deserving teams in and, you know, do it on a rotation. So it all pays off when we get here the show day. And speaking of show day, Puckett, the fill is over. The picks are about to be in.
All right, no hello. Sorry, I've asked. No
so
fun for us as
fine.
OG.
No, yeah, no fun. I mean, I think we already had our fun, right? We had our Glaze segment for ZP, so that was our fun for the day. Now we can go back to our just standard, is with Wolverine being gone too, Hella being gone. I mean, I would be shocked if I just don't see Star-Lord or like Namor being played, right? There's the LG with the Namor protect again, and ZP, you talked about it, right? With Namor being protected, that gives the option, like, does OG ban the Luna Snow, leaving open the Adam Warlock, right?
Yeah,
Luna's
I mean,
getting banned. It's just, it's done.
I guess the problem is here.
Fast forward.
I think the real problem here is that it's just the fact that they fear Naga's Namor even more than they fear the Star-Lord that's been really good right now, because end of it all, oh no, they don't. They said, let's do the Namor. They got rid of the Warlock. All right, it's on. We will see a shift. And it is likely going to be Naga on the Namor instead, rather than the triple strategist Star-Lord comp, because with Adam Warlock gone, you're not running triple strategist. That's just how it works.
Loki gone as well. This is going to be some fun. It's time to find out. Can OG Esports take us to a map number 4? Is Naga the greatest Namor? We got ZP and Avast. Take it over.
All right, and okay, this is exciting, Avast, because I was gonna say, you're down 2 maps, like, dear God, change something. And even if you don't want to deal with Destroyed on the Hella, which I get, you can't let the Naga Star-Lord continue for multiple maps in a row. And getting rid of the Adam Warlock, I mean, it ensures a little bit of a cleaner form of rivals here, right? Where it's just gonna be very likely a 2-2-2.
Is that honest rivals? Have we started to bring back the honest term? Is this honest rivals, the 2-2-2?
Anything off the 2-2-2, like, maybe on the dishonest spectrum. You know, look, I didn't make the rules. This is just what people say. Triple Vanguard, though, hasn't really been in vogue a whole lot, and when it hasn't been good. But triple strategist.
Wait, think about this. This is a map where you can take people off the map if you wanted, but I think it's hard because, like, overall the hazards they're so far outside the first point for the offense to where, like, I don't know if it's really worth the time unless they want to take them off. I would be surely it's just going to be speed bubble strat. Surely they're not safe.
No. He's back. Tanuki. If his speedball would have been one of the strategists on it, but instead, his name is Jeff. It says he's a strategist, but when Tanuki plays it, the deadliest duelist around, Avast.
And see, the mobility for Tanuki here is that going to be going up to this high ground, right? This long flank, immediately trying to get the strategist, getting the Namor off the high ground. You have to make sure not to get caught immediately, because Namor, when you talk about someone that's great at punishing a Jeff, is like Namor, especially with the team up there for Luna Snow.
Grab a little snack, come right over. A little bit of Jeff action, the dive comes in. Tanuki making some disruption here, forcing Namor to use some of the spawn in the back, but also Naga just kind of wins those, is the other problem. So a little bit unfortunate. Now a 5 versus 6, and in a way, you just kind of want to wait for Jeff to come back.
And you saw the dive take place there, right? Enzo goes in as well with the frenzied, with the Venom swing, the frenzied arrival, coming on in. But I mean, just frozen spawn just gives so much CC, so much counter dive ability there, and Namor is already very, very tanky. As you see though, now Etsu trying to follow up. There's the pressure onto the back line. They're trying to take this high ground.
I'm looking for it. Meanwhile, OG Back to Tanuki Cam. The most dangerous shark in the sea. Tanuki right now. Just look at the...
Seen a lot of fish
damage
currently.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a grown boy. He's hungry. That's kind of how this all works. Crook. We'll find Etsu. Tanuki, though, onto Naga. BRB. Again, Etsu right back into the fray. And OG making this work right now, Vast. Gonna see Destroyed, though, on the Star-Lord. Dropping the Galactic Legend. Finding 2 off it. Star-Lord threat not gone, even when Destroyed is playing on it. 3 off it, and that's gonna really stymie the OG push.
Oh, Enzo, I mean, committing there's the Feast of the Abyss as well. And it looked so good. Like, the split was so good for OG. But the problem is they had to use the Fate of Both Worlds early, which means there's nothing for the Galactic Legend. And now they're just stuck in this situation where it's a long fight. They're looking for picks, and Naga's made it back with the Horn of Proteus. So they're going to have a sustain as well for Fate with the Fate of Both Worlds. So this is a fight. They really want to just try to find one, maybe off the amplifier here from Kin. Just get someone really, really early, ideally.
Vast, effectively, this is a $1,000 Jeff vault. If the Jeff vault doesn't work well, OG could get full held, and it could be money match over. Like, you are putting a lot onto this Jeff play here. But here we go, Meteor M out here early from Stays, who's super low. Alex getting pummeled into the back. Rajaro with the finish. 2 already down. Tanuki holding onto the Jeff vault. And then, wait, no, Tanuki's using the Jeff vault. Going. Grabs 1. And you got
he just got Horn of Proteus.
Right after.
He just got Horn of Proteus. I mean, that sometimes you just get solo ulted to get him out of the Jeff mouth. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, the actual legendary crash out from Naga, just making sure. They're just like, no, don't take my support.
What better to fight a shark than a whale is, I think, where we're at there. Oh, boy. You'd think Tanuki would swap off the Jeff at this point. Like, they need, anything in this last minute. Fate of Both Worlds going to be used here by Alex. OG, though, committing. Tanuki still able to get 1. Hanging on to the Jeff. Strangling Prison used by Trust Me. No picks from the back of it. Enzo soon to get Feast. OG hanging on here onto the point. Still a long way to go, though. Tanuki with another. The Jeff suddenly getting real bloodthirsty here. That's the Feast coming on in. And it's just devouring across the board from OG, making this first point still work.
And, I mean, finally, they get the cap there. Tough first point to get. There's going to be the chase as well. Really, really good Fate of Both Worlds coming out from Alex. Alex just getting the damage boost, allowing some of that damage to come through for Tanuki, for Enzo, just getting some of those picks. And that's what they need. If they're going to be playing this, like, kind of double animal backline with the Raccoon, I guess really it's not really a backline. Tanuki's more of a front line. And just having both of them on the field here, they need a lot of damage. They need a lot of pressure here to make this work. And it finally happened there. Zetsu going to be revved by the BRB.
Destroyed. Galactic Legend from the top, forces out the Meteor M early, and just gets a little bit extra damage on the Enzo, caught in the crossfire. So Enzo down. I do wonder if Enzo stays on the Venom now. This would be an ideal time to swap, but Enzo also does love the Venom, so see how that works as Naga right now on Jeff duty. Jeff,
he's just so slippery. He's so slippery. He's so hard to hit. They're just continually watching, just forcing these monsters spawn in the backline. I mean, Tanuki just being a menace.
Meanwhile, Etsu, Galactic Legend on the other end. Rajaro already getting 1 off the Meteor M, so this is a little bit cursed, losing your Luna that early. Tanuki decides to go for the eat. Got 3. Where are we going to go here? Jeff on the prowl, looking,
taking the spawn.
diving, just bringing him back over, and, well, I mean, it's a little bit
this is the problem as well, right? It's like, I think, like, now that you're past first point, like, the angles are still good, but like, where is you taking them with the ult, right? Your best chance is like, maybe you can bring them to your spawn, maybe you get a pick, but if you have a lot of tanky characters, a lot of tanky heroes here for Luminosity, that like, the Jeff pick is just not doing as much as they would like. And now they're like, you look at the bank, okay, Meteor Mim, Fate of Both Worlds, pretty much just going to be trading back and forth wherever, hoping they don't get caught by the Horn of Proteus. And this comp is looking to stall a little bit. They need a pick.
Fate of Both Worlds going to be opened up with here by OG, looking for any way in through this Luminosity defense. Invisible Boundary out in response by Luminosity. And now, see where this is going to develop to. Not a lot left alt-wise here. Snaze does have Meteor M in response to Destroyed's Galactic Legend, which should be incoming here in just a moment. Trust me, though, brawling out in the front, takes down Enzo in the neutral. Galactic Legend going to be out here first by Etsu. Enzo brought back via the BRB. Etsu finding room to work with here with 1 here so far. Might be about to make it 2 with the added Tanuki. And OG Avast gets a way in.
and they're playing just as really scrappy long fights. They want the fight to go as long as possible because that's the chance for Tanuki. Be in the backline. You saw it there at the end of the fight, just putting so much pressure. Okay, you can pop a late duelist ult there for Etsu with the Galactic Legend. It's just the issue is that they burn so much time off the clock. We're in a last fight scenario. There is a chance for Tanuki to go absolutely nuclear here, though. Get the ult, force everyone off the point to allow the cap, because there isn't really a hazard.
You say you want your players hungry. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Meteor M from Snays looks for an early pickoff, does not find it. Was boosted by the Sia, but now all eyes going to be on the Land Shark. Jeff, ready to go here. Naga's already picked up one. Into the water he goes. Looking, and it gets nothing. It's a sad Jeff. It's a dead Jeff on the floor. Luminosity gonna be stopping this push right here and now, Avast.
Adventurous. I would say the comp was adventurous. If I were perhaps describing it in all sorts of terms, it's daring. It's you know, it's salient. I mean, overall, the Jeff, I love the idea. I loved it at first. I think it definitely stalled out there a bit on the second. And OG getting a little creative with it. And you saw the moments of like brightness, right? I think it's a team that isn't as good, like a team that's not as strong as Luminosity. That comp could definitely work because you just get Tanuki clearly understands how to use the mobility, how to hit the damage, but just not getting the value they needed there for their offense.
Well, now as we head into the second round, Luminosity, our interim champions, as VP pulled out of this week, now about to be our true champions, on the verge of defeating OG Esports, a team that many see as the second best in EU. All they need to do is put together a slightly better attack, and they will be the winners of the money match, the $1,000, and the champions of Rivals Fight Night for EU. And I gotta say that
there's a Jeff. There's a Jeff in the game. It's not ending here.
I mean, Puckett makes a salient point. Jeff is ready. He's not stopping Avast. They are riding the Jeff train to the end.
I mean, I like it a bit. I mean, I like it for first. I like it for the first point more than I like it for the rest of the map. So this is really where if they're going to try to roll the Jeff, they want it to happen here. They want the first hold to happen right here because this is where you're going to get the most value out of it. I mean, look at the pressure. I mean, they're just sitting there. I mean, trust me, he's trying to look for the portal, and Tanuki's just sitting there, just using the bubbles, just getting constant poke.
Yeah, I mean, Tanuki going there is like, I will continue to hit you while you go through that portal. I will go through your own portal to chase you down. It's just the aura of the hunter in this case. You see Etsu now on the Namor. Gonna be the Namor versus Namor battle. Naga setting up Frozen Spawn, Frozen Spawn, and Etsu just getting crunched. The double duels pressure from Destroyed and Naga a little bit too much. Enzo, meanwhile, on the Venom, looking for his counterpart on the other side. Getting it quite low. Might be able to get the pick off here. Trust me, though, getting healed in turn. Naga, meanwhile, gets to the back end of Snays. BRB will be bringing Snays back up, and Tanuki falls. Naga just turns, shifts. Down goes Jeff.
And you see here also just like the power of Naga and the Namor. I mean, losing Etsu just going down so early means they're losing a lot of damage. Naga's just free to fire up here on the high ground. And when you combine it with just Destroyed here on the Star-Lord, there's just so much pressure comparatively when you're running this Jeff composition. Now, Etsu does make it back, does get destroyed, but Naga just being a menace here.
Oh, he just destroyed their strategist line. Both are gone. Naga getting any pick he wants, dropping the horn. Was looking for the Jeff in turn.
Yeah.
However, I mean, OG's buying time. The thing is, this feels like it's hit past critical mass here. Tanuki, though, getting real close to being a hungry Jeff.
He can't get the Jeff. He can't get him, man. He's trying.
Jeff just squirts away there. It's destroyed, though. Galactic Legend with 2. Jeff Eat coming on in, picks up 2. And now dashing, darting, diving, gone, taken out by Fate. Tanuki not going to get away from that one as Luminosity gets first point, and they are on their way to the money match victory.
Yeah, I mean, now with the first point going their way, they might lose some staggers or two. They have to be really careful. It's pretty grim. Things have been looking grim lately. I'm not gonna lie, because for OG, I mean, they're just in a situation where this comp has gotten not as strong. There's so much pressure from Luminosity. It's tough.
Luminosity, the game is theirs to lose now. 4 minutes is a lot of time for the second point. Etsu is down. They are going to need to dig deep and find something within themselves to keep this series going. OG, Fate of Both Worlds about to fade. Luminosity moving forward. The horn ready to be blown. Naga's horns have also been on point through most of the day here. The Namor play sublime in on the high ground. Just wondering what's going to be the target. A little bit of a Jeff distraction, but now keeping the eye on the prize here. Avast burns down Magneto. It's destroyed from the other end. The pressure is unrelenting, even as the BRB brings one back.
And they do get the res, so there's a chance here. Meteor M, though, into the backline to make sure not to lose anyone. No one goes down just yet, so there's a chance. I mean, Ken has gotten 2. Oh, but the Horn of Proteus. I mean, it's just, there's so much. I mean, Naga is essentially unpressured, right? Like, outside of the high ground, he's just been free for a large portion.
It might be over. Luminosity about to be your champions here at Rivals Fight Night EU. Enzo trying to delay, gets pushed back, dead and over. Luminosity have done it. Your champions here, Rivals Fight Night EU. Avast. Even from just last week, I feel like Luminosity leveled up a whole lot.
Now, to be fair, you did say that OG Esports had to dig deep, and they hit bedrock. So I don't think the digging was that good. I mean, the composition was really interesting. I think that the more intriguing part here is, like, does OG continue to play this in some other tournaments? But overall, Luminosity did look really, really good. I think this team continues to show that they have a really, really strong dynamic for them. They have, you know, the play around the Naga. They have Trust Me being able to flex to all the Vanguards that they need with a solid backbone there for Majaro. So, I mean, Luminosity look good. They look solid across the board, finally taking down the number 2 for OG, who's been like kind of that spot right below Virtus.pro for a while now. And Luminosity looking very, very solid.
As good as Luminosity is, how do you take Jeff to the one map that has walls the entire way till you get to the end? Maybe throw him off the map next time. Bad moves there by the decisions made on the map picks. Great execution by LG. But shout out to OG for making this one fun despite a 3-0. We saw someone trying something new, and that doesn't happen all the time when there's money on the line. ZP, if you could look back, though, at this 3-0 from Luminosity, and specifically this map number 3, was it just Naga's no more? What was the difference maker?
I think Naga in the duelist role, whether it be on the Namor at the end or the Star-Lord throughout the day, was a clear standout. It passed the eye test, it passed the stat test. Naga was where he needed to be at all times, even had the Spite Whale in that last highlight, and it was a good move. I mean, Naga was just consistent the whole way through. I don't think Naga is this consistent without, Trust Me, just being a menace on the Groot in most of these maps, nor do I think he's able to do this without Rajaro's support, right? I mean, it was a team effort, but even still, Naga made the most of the opportunities that the rest of his team was giving him.
The horns were fat at the end. Well done, Naga. It's great to see a full force.
Oh, that zero-man Jeff ult there at the end, just using the Meteor M to just get above the Jeff ult.
I want to see Tanuki's total time on the Jeff ult. Or sorry, on Jeff in general. It's got to be less than 2 hours.
For the series or just in general?
In general.
Yeah.
You think he's playing?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, in ranked, I mean, Jeff can be a menace. You know, just bring up the meme, the King Von meme. You know, like I do think that like Jeff can be very, very strong, especially when you're a very powerful player. I see your cat tends to agree with that assessment.
Yeah,
but I do think that the team's this team experimenting would be the name, would be the word of the day. I think for OG Esports potentially.
Yeah, get weird. Stop playing Star-Lord. Figure it out. Jeff may not be the answer, but there are other duelists to keep trying out. ZP, I thought we saw some excellent strategist play on both sides of the ball throughout this series. OG Esports has plenty of time to retool their things. What do you want to see from them next? Because this isn't the last time they'll be on Rivals Fight Night.
I mean, I think for OG, the thing I would have liked to have seen we didn't see today is like, look, maybe there's scrim data to back it up. I do wonder what would have happened if they had allowed the Hela and they'd gone a little bit more deep onto the bans to, you know, target Naga's hero pool a little bit more. Obviously, if this is the meta, you know, clearly you have to up your triple strategist play a little bit more. You got to get a little bit more out of your own Star-Lord and all the rest. But I think the reality is too is that there's 3 O's and then there's 3 O's, right? And the first 2 maps especially were very, very close on a razor's edge. It could have gone the other way. I think it was only Symbiotic Surface where we saw Luminosity clearly just fully drive ahead. And look, the reality is some of that may have been the fact that the Jeff comp, while looks great in the challenging match, just did not look great on Symbiotic Surface.
Yeah, the surface has too many walls. In the meantime, we do have to give a shout out to the man who took to the skies starting in map 1 and Well, until we finished, it's the man named Naga. Take a look at his skills because he does it on all kinds of heroes. I've asked, what do you love about his play tonight?
I mean, I think the thing about Naga that you have to love, and especially for Redet's whole team, Luminosity in general, we talk about, is that they're built around enabling Naga a lot. Like, not that Sestroid, his duelist partner, is a bad player. Sestroid clearly gets lots and lots of value on the picks that they play, but a lot of the team comps that they build are built around enabling Naga. He just knows how his timing so well. They clearly just do a lot to make sure that Naga get the max amount of value possible. And Naga's timing is such a crucial part of his play and his presence here on this team, to where you see the ults come out, you're like, okay, ults are being forced, Naga's staying alive, pressuring the flank, okay, Naga's in, there's the Galactic Legend, there's the Horn of Proteus, right? So I think for Naga here is kind of the it factor for this team often.
I love seeing at the end of his Galactic Legends, after the ult finishes, he's still clicking a full clip of headshots. The man's got good aim, ZP, and he's been doing it for a while. You've been following his career. For those who are watching Naga for the first time, what should they know about the man playing for Luminosity EU?
I think you should know about Naga is that Naga's been doing this in the hero shooter genre for a very long time, a just constant fixture in EU competition, now bringing his talents to Marvel Rivals, and I think if you even compare it to 2 weeks ago, Naga continues to get better. This is what we're going to see, by the way, as the Rivals competitive scene continues to glow up, as the events get more and more prestigious, the players will get better and better, especially players that have come in that are veterans from other games, so it's not surprising to me to see Naga's execution take a level up over just a small period of time. I think for Luminosity and also other teams that have brought in this veteran talent, this is the evolution of the gameplay I think you can come to expect over the coming months.
Hey, shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you for the clips. You're making our editor's job even easier. And shout out to production. We got a twerk mid-map. What other Rivals production has accomplished that goal? We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we are going to be switching gears from Europe to North America. Shroud, he's investing in gamers, giving back. You'll love to see it. They take on Shikigami when we return.